Hey guys, Rusty here. This is a special episode. We actually recorded this one about a year ago and just haven't ever released it. There's some technical challenges and you'll hear a number of those, but there was some good content, some interesting stuff, albeit some of it outdated. This is like a Christmas Day present special thing, so hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's good fun. Forgive us for the audio quality. It's not a standard episode. Massive thanks to Butters, Johnny and Steve for joining us for it. Anyway, we'll get straight into it and hope you guys are having a wonderful Christmas day. Cheers.
You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. And now, over to your hosts.
Hello and welcome to Precision Shooting Podcast. My name is Rusty and I am sitting in front of a fire. And to my right, Butters. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Good. Welcome to SA.
Thank you.
We're sitting in front of fire. You quite like fires, mate, I've noticed.
Well, I'm not allowed them up north.
Yeah, right on. Yep.
Neighbours get a bit itchy. I light a fire.
You're not meant to light the fire at the house, mate. These are rules that are common in social practice.
I'm just making sure you boys are warm.
Yeah, no, you've done well, mate. You've got a good fire going in front of us, mate. So you're on your way over to Victoria somewhere, stopping into
New South Wales.
New South Wales, a bit of a crack, a couple of shots with us, and we've also got some other guests actually on this podcast. Goldy over the other side of the table. Goldy, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Good, mate. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be up here.
Easy done, mate. Hey, enjoying the fire that Butters has prepared for us?
It's very warm. I had to strip some layers.
That explains why you're looking quite nude. On to the next one, Johnny also. Johnny, thanks for coming on tonight.
Anytime.
Awesome, mate. And Johnny runs CNS Sporty Arms at Paraka, if I've got that correct.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
Lovely
cool.
place.
So great to have you on board, mate. It's a gun shop north of Adelaide. So, guys, if you are in Adelaide or anywhere nearby, make sure you check Johnny out and all his gear. How you boys all been? We're down here. We're going to have a bit of a shoot. Well, not now because it's quite dark and we've got a fire going and a couple of beers. So no shooting now, but have a bit of a crack tomorrow. How you guys doing? All keen for it?
Yeah, really keen.
Yeah.
Be a lot of fun.
Yeah, excellent. Butters, you going to slam it, mate, or you can't deal with the cold weather?
No, it's not cold enough.
It's only going to be 29 tomorrow, mate, not 34.
Freezing. Turn it up.
Oh, good. Well, as we did with some of the other guys on an episode, it's probably fair to say, Butters, you've shot a lot. You've been on a number of these podcasts as well and shared some advice and ideas and stupidity.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep, sums it up fairly well. But the other boys that haven't done one of these before, they are going to go through some of the questions we've asked Danny and Dave not that long ago as well. And we've got a similar mix. Steve, you've shot a number of competitions and you're doing quite well. You've won one of them and you've always performing quite significantly. We'd say you're a fairly experienced shooter in the PRS type long range.
I'm doing all right
at
the PRS at the moment. I've done, I think, 8 competitions now, and I'm going all right.
Going all right, yeah, cool. And Johnny, you've shot a couple of this style of shooting.
Shot a rimfire and also shot centerfire.
Yeah, and you've got a bigger background in other types of shooting, though. We probably, which we'll get into in a moment. But again, we've got sort of some good experience there, and then some sort of fresher experience. And we're really interested to hear part of your journey, guys. And Butters, obviously, you can chime in whenever is appropriate, whenever you feel like it. When you're not tending to this immaculate fire you've got going.
Mate, we've got to keep it going.
Yeah, actually, the last time you were in SA, we did a podcast around a fire, I do believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's good to have the theme.
I've got to get them in when I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Well, when we're allowed to. So, gentlemen over on the side there, Goldy and Johnny, let's start with you, Goldy. Your shooting background. Where did you get into shooting and what have you done up until this point? Give us a brief history.
I first started shooting when Safe Operations taught me how to shoot a pistol.
Right, yep.
And after that, I decided it was a good idea to go out hunting and enjoyed it. Hunted for many years. Much more of a rifle shooter and a shotgun shooter than a pistol shooter, but had a pistol license for a fair period of time as well, and basically shoot any time I can.
And for those who are listening, perhaps more overseas, SAPOL is South Australian Police.
That's correct.
Yep. So that's obviously that was your first experience with a firearm. Is that right?
That was my first play with a firearm. I'm not counting using a rifle when I was a child.
Like an air rifle sort of thing.
Yeah,
or
I'm
22?
not counting that.
Yep. Okay, so you didn't grow up around it. It's been introduced from an occupational point of view.
Yeah, that's correct. My parents still don't like firearms very much, and yeah, so I've just learned it all occupationally, and then with friends.
And really taking the social side of things and the competitive side of things, taking it further. And so you've done a reasonable amount of other bits and pieces?
I've done quite a lot of hunting, pistol shooting. Obviously, I had to do every year anyhow. And
Yep.
I had a pistol license for many years and enjoyed the RPSC style shooting pistols, more practical style over the Olympic style of shooting.
And what sort of stuff did you hunt?
We were hunting out at Border Town, so basically anything from little rabbits and big rabbits to foxes.
Goats at all around there?
I haven't actually got a goat yet. I have got deer, but yeah, no, I haven't got a goat yet. It's not exactly high country though.
Yeah, fair enough. That's all right. And what about you, Johnny? I know you've probably got quite an interesting story about your growing up and shooting and all that sort of gear.
Old man was a pistol shooter for many years. I started when I was a kid shooting, predominantly handguns. Starting at 22 pistols, then moving up to obviously centerfire, 38s, 357s. Then moved on to rifles after that. So I actually started with handguns. So
yeah, and you still shoot that fairly often now?
Very often, yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I guess from what I've seen in the shop, you've
definitely,
got a fair bit to do with the
Dad's
handgun side of
secretary
things,
of
with
our
clubs
pistol
and bits
club
and pieces
as well. So and a trainer. So
okay, yep. Yeah, so there's a lot of involvement there. Yeah, cool. And what got you into the rifle side of things?
Ideally,
more
I've always shot
predominantly
50 metres.
in this
Pistol
side
club
of
having a
stuff?
very close sort of range, 50
Sure.
metres. I brought a Savage 110 BA in a 300 Win Mag.
And shot that at 50 metres?
At 50 metres, yes.
All right, that's a good use of the gun.
So, I
just got a question for you. Did your Savage actually hit anything at 50 metres?
yes, it did. I hit the mound a little
Goldie-
bit.
Set off car alarms in the car park too.
God has given me the evil eye, because that's what he runs.
Yeah,
Yep.
then Steve took me out a couple of times to Rusty. We came out and
Yeah, we had a crack.
stepped it over 50 metres, which was actually quite a good day.
Actually, was that the first
Yeah, that's
time
when we came here.
Yeah, and we came out and
Yeah.
you shot, 1,000 or something? Or
20 mile an hour winds,
Yeah.
1308, 1310 was it? You said the distance was?
Oh, the 1321.
1321.
And we did that in 25 mile an hour winds that day in a storm, pretty much. Tail end of a storm.
It was my first time too, so I mean that was pretty good.
They all say that. Yeah, awesome, man. Cool. And so you've done a couple of comps. You did all right in some of those.
I did quite well, I think. The rimfire I did really well in until I had a bit of malfunction there, and but yeah, I shot a couple of clays with a 22 rifle. So.
I remember that. That's right. Yeah, we had one stage on that on that rimfire shoot where the clays were being launched from a clay thrower downhill, so you're always shooting into dirt, but you were trying to shoot them on the move in the air. And I think you and one other person out of about 15, 18 people.
It was me and Dale. I got
Dale
two,
Shepherd.
Dale got one.
Yeah.
I actually shot one after each other. No one else got any.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's a real acquired skill doing that one.
Well, I've shot a lot of clays too. So
Yeah, okay. Oh, so clays have been a big part of it?
yeah, I've shot a lot of clays at international shotgun clubs. So a lot out there. So like proper ISSF clay throwing. So
Yeah, cool. It's I'm going to ask you a bit about that pistol aspect coming across to the rifle stuff, because I guess a lot of the guests we have hadn't done a huge amount with pistols. So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on sort of transitioning from pistol and you said IPSC a little bit.
IPC, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
so how that's come across, because that's a question that comes up quite a bit, and many of us haven't shot IPSC, so we don't have really a good breadth of answer for that. So my next question, you guys, with the history. Actually, Butters, give us a bit of a rundown, because I'm not sure we've actually done your background in shooting.
Yeah.
Have we?
Yes.
Let's do it again. What's your background in shooting?
Background shooting, basically, when I was...
There was a big spider behind you before, actually, and it's disappeared now. Just
he
a
won't-
heads up.
He won't eat.
Only bites the once.
Yeah. Yeah, when I lived in New South Wales, Dad would take me out spotlighting every now and again, and it's about the most I ever did shooting. Mainly it was on the shotgun, chasing down foxes and rabbits on the back of the ute. But
Yep.
I didn't really start competitive shooting or long range rifle shooting until I moved up to Darwin, and one of the fellas asked me to go and have a go at F class.
Oh, yep.
So I went out and I shot F class for a number of years, and I still enjoy a bit of it. And then I met my mate Bear, and he wasn't too interested in F class, so I thought, well, he always shot on steel, so I thought, righto, let's give steel a go, and then
And Bear was on that last podcast we did around the fire.
he was,
I don't know what episode that was, but that was a while back.
let's say 38.
Is that legit? Or
I
you
have
just
no idea.
I reckon, to be fair, I reckon it was earlier than that. But anyway,
Probably. Anyway, yeah. So, and then pretty much out of Bear's prompting, I started up the practical rifle up in Darwin, and then pretty much been
we
doing
should
that
have mentioned
since.
that you're involved with that. That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all right. People know that.
I'm known by people. They
I'm
just
well known.
for all the wrong reasons.
What a heap of shit that is.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Cool. That was your background. Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Good.
What about your background?
I think people are sick of that.
I want to hear it
You want to hear it?
in 6 words.
Can't hit anything. Still happy trying.
Well done.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. So anyway, we're still learning. Cool, gentlemen. Actually, this question will go out to all of you. Wanting to know, like, if there's any particular point that through your journey, particularly in the long range side of things, pistols aside and shotguns aside, although if there's something notable that's actually had an effect on your long range shooting, I'd like to know that. What's been some of the big points, big challenges you've faced, and then sort of been able to overcome a little bit, and they've made a good difference to your shooting? What's been some of the real tough stuff to get your head around? Butters, maybe start with you.
I was saying earlier when you asked me this, I remember there was something, but I couldn't quite remember. But off the top of my head, I remember, this is the only thing I can think of at the moment. I remember shooting F-class for a while, and I was always asking the fellas how much to come up from the previous weekend, because we go out 100 metres every week. And I would always ask the fellas, how high do I come up? And I honestly had no idea. I was green as.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd say, oh, yeah, come up 2 minutes, 4 minutes or whatever. No idea what that was. And I don't think it was a while until I actually clicked what all that meant. And then once I finally worked out, right, if I zero this and then work out the actual trajectory, I can automatically hit the center of this target on the first shot and not worry about the siders. So I think with a short period of time I've had to think about that question, I reckon that was probably it. Working out how to do the actual trajectory and the dope for your own rifle.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually, and that's probably one that is often overlooked, because we spend so much time sort of teaching and working with getting guys to zero their rifle really well, and then learning what it takes to generate a trajectory, so that you can take your next shot at 800 meters quite, relatively comfortably to be in the right ballpark.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think
Rather than sort of starting out at 300 and then the week later going to 400 and the week later going to, really sort of nailing down the understanding.
yeah, and I think that helped me a lot. And I started hitting closer to center more and more often after I realised how to work out all that the drop data. And
Good point.
yeah, that was pretty early days of my shooting, so you made me think about that one, you mongrel.
Yeah, no, that's what I like to do. Johnny, anything for you, mate?
Mainly just getting used to, like Butter said, the drops and how to dial up, and definitely remembering to dial before you shoot. That's probably the hardest thing.
It's such a difference from pistol shooting, isn't it? That's not present in pistol shooting.
You never worry about your drops.
You just shoot at the target.
At the target, you shoot at the little plate and it falls over, and that's about as far as it goes.
Really? Because that wasn't my experience. It didn't fall over when I tried to shoot the thing.
I've been doing it for a long time, Rusty.
Oh, right, you did this. Yeah, fair enough. Different point. Yeah, cool. That's where I started with the Glock, so that's where I went wrong.
Well, there's your problem right there.
Oh, good. Goldy, what about yourself, mate?
I had the similar kind of issues with data. I obviously started off, when I started doing rifle, I was hunting. I was fortunate enough to start off, rimfire, and I chose scopes that already had the data on the dials.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay. Yep.
it was a case of guessing the distance. And that always goes well. You try guessing distance in the middle of the night. It never works out the way you want.
Butters is on the other side of the fire, cracking wood open. I don't even know how far away he is.
Yeah.
30 or 40 metres?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe more like 4 or 5.
thinking.
Yeah.
Actually mean to purchase it in the first place. I purchased a rifle with it on at an extremely good price, and I'll tell you what, I used it for years. It was brilliant.
Yep.
I've since sold it purely because I wanted some other equipment, and I don't need it with the style of shooting I'm doing now. I can do everything in scope with the Vortex Razor. So
Yeah, okay. Yep.
After that, obviously, when I got in some decent long-range shooting, then I learnt about creating my own data. And, it was a hell of a learning curve. I was pretty comfortable at that stage with minutes of angle and mils and
Sure.
different measurements, but it was still a case of learning how to create your own data and make it as accurate as possible.
How long ago was that, Goldie, that you sort of went through that understanding change?
Let's put it this way. When I shot the first PRI with yourself back, 2 Aprils ago?
Yeah, so that would make it 2016?
2016.
Okay.
Yep. I'd never shot 600 metres
Okay.
at that stage.
Yeah, right.
So, my long-range shots at that stage were 400 or 500 metres absolute maximum, and I was using a 300 Win to do that. And obviously that competition, we had a 1,200 metre shot. So I made some data before that comp, and, I didn't hit the 1,200.
Yeah,
I think
right.
we have 10 rounds to do it or something?
And did you find, like, going through that process, because we teach that process pretty rapidly now, and guys, they sort of spend time at 100 metres, and then the next shot's at 800. And they initially freak out until they start hitting the target within about 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah, I suppose it could be daunting for people, but if you trust your data, it's pure maths.
Yeah.
End of the day, it's maths and physics. Yes, the wind's going to play with it, and the temperature's going to play with it a bit, but it's not to a massive amount that you're going to miss greatly. You're going to see it in the scope downrange. And I was always, when I started off long-range shooting, it was always, aim for a second shot hit. First shot's great, but second shot, you can make your correction in scope and hit. If you can do that as a beginner, that's great.
Yeah, certainly starting out. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nice. Very good. And has there been any other particular sort of big challenges that you worked with? How's wind gone for you, Goldie?
I'm still fighting wind. I'll be shooting later with a rifle. I've shot a grand total of, including the rounds I shot today, 30 rounds maybe. So I'll know the wind on that. Yeah, no, wind is subjective. I'll probably grab a wind meter out at some stage during the day once or twice and just check what it is and chuck it in the data and see what happens.
Okay, good. So still a battle to be won, to be fought. Still a battle to be fought.
I've been spoilt for years using the 300 where you don't have to worry about wind.
Okay.
You just aim at the target or aim just off the target and it hits.
Yep. Yeah, nice. Until you go far enough away,
mate.
But as it doesn't work if you don't have a microphone, mate, it's very difficult to hear your questions. So thanks for
that. Fire's pretty bloody hot now.
You're right, actually. That's I'm sweating now. I did have a drink sitting there, but it's all evaporated now.
Yeah.
But as you've written a stack of stages, obviously you run a number of comps a year up in Darwin, as well as running the big ones there, the 2 days.
Yep.
What sort of stages do you really enjoy?
I'll go with the ones I like to design first. I like to design stages that force the competitor to think about how they're going to go about that stage.
Upstage.
Strategic, or where there may be multiple options of how they're going to position themselves to shoot off a certain barricade or a position. Something that makes people think. And because, people come to an event and they go, all right, we'll just go through the motions. Now, bugger that.
Yep.
Make them think about how they're actually going to do this stage, make them game the stage, whether they pick the right target to shoot at or if they do the right position to shoot at. I like to make people think for stages I design. I don't particularly like shooting them myself. Not that I find them difficult or anything. I'm ever worried that I'll pick the wrong thing myself.
So it's a vanity thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I thought so.
But the stages I like to do.
Surely you like barricade sort of stages.
Not really,
No,
actually.
okay.
I'd like my barricades. I don't like. They're hard. I don't have any of those fancy bags or barricade stops.
Yep.
No, I tend to like the stages where we do move around a bit, like the boys have as well.
So movement seems to be a popular theme
I
here
think
with stages.
I think the movement's popular because it's not the norm in a lot of other shooting sports, other than IPSC.
Yeah, you probably raise a good point there. Where we can shoot a lot of different stuff like F class and bits and pieces, and the big difference is position and movement. Yeah, have you shot F class, Goldy, at all?
I did do a little bit of F class. It was fine. I get frustrated with F class, so end of the day,
That's why it's called F class.
Yeah, exactly. Well, very true. Right to the point with the
Actually,
guy.
if anyone knows why it's called F class, please let me know, because I've wondered that, but I've never asked someone who knows.
And we don't exactly have Google out here.
No, not really. Okay, good. Anyway, those who are listening, please let us know why it's called F class if you do know. And it's not frustrated class. I'm sure that's not the reason.
No, it's not so much the target that frustrates me with F class. It's the people you're shooting with.
Throwing punches.
Wow. Hey,
End of the day, I mean,
his
I
name's
like
Goldie,
muzzle
by the
brakes.
way. Just expressing that his
alright.
views are his.
That's all right. I make friends every day. This isn't going to change much. No, end of the day, I mean, I like using the muzzle brake for my comfort and ease of
Sure.
spotting my
Yep.
scope. And you go on an F-class range, they'll turn around and shun you to the other end of the range. And then you'll get the old codger come out and go, yep, I'm going to set up for my shots. We've got to wait. And that's not a problem. I don't mind waiting for people. But when you're resetting your bench up for the third time and you've got the spirit level out and you've got a little scope to see where your target is and it's not lined up and you do it again, right? It gets frustrating when you just we're used to just getting down there, lying in any position or shooting off any position and make do what you're doing. I get it's a controlled sport, and hence why I don't shoot that sport anymore. Let them shoot it. I'll shoot my sport.
Sure. Yeah. I don't actually remember how we got onto that. There was definitely some reason as to why we ended up doing that. But I guess that you guys have talked about your favourite stages being more along the movement side of things. And I guess, a huge amount of PRS style shooting is based around practical shooting. And that's where IPSC is, I guess, as well. Now, there'd be an argument made that IPSC is no longer as practical as it used to be because the methods have changed in the practical world. And look, I won't claim to be not even a remotely expert, not even a remote amateur in that side of things, because it's not something I know. But that sort of desire to do something that feels a bit more practical that you could put into the real world is certainly been the reason I think PRS, for example, is as the head of the style of shooting moving forward has become so popular because guys see that what they're doing translates to from a field point of view, from a hunting point of view. So many of the skills are adaptable. But we've covered this on podcasts before, dedicated podcasts to it before. So I shall ask you the next question, gentlemen, which is, what are your most hated styles of stages? Johnny, I know you've only shot a couple of comps. What did you dislike immensely the most completely? What did you go home cursing people's names? Probably mine because they're my comps.
It's always Steve's. It's all good. Probably the one I've disliked the most is probably levels. I just found it a bit awkward to get down.
So that's a barricade heavy,
Yeah.
lots of different positions rapidly.
I think also too the gun I was using is quite big, heavy, and long. So it's a bit tricky to sort of like pull in, pull out, and then sort of throw it through. But yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Goldie, what about you, mate? What do you dislike? And it could be dislike that you just actually dislike it. You're good at it, but you dislike it, or these are the ones you have to work on.
Oh, there's lots of stages I have to work on. One day I'll actually get out and practice. So
No, why would you do that?
I think this will be the first time I've ever actually got load development done before I've come out. So
It's not even your
we're
gun.
getting there. Yeah, it's not my gun either.
Nice.
No, stages I don't like. Well, there was this particular stage we had to run a long distance carrying a 7 kilo plate I didn't like.
Yeah, right. It was that one of the Butters comps, was it?
Yeah, sure. I'll let that go.
Similarities.
700 metres be the end of his range, wouldn't it?
500. Yeah. Yes, good.
Yeah, no, that was particularly, let's say, tiring and not exactly great fun.
Challenging.
I get the idea behind it, but yeah, movement's great, not too much movement.
Yeah, okay. So keeping it realistic, keeping it not a real physical test.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, physical test, if we want to do a physical test, we'll all be Olympians. But yeah, I can't say most of us. There are quite a few people that come out who aren't exactly...
Most of us are not are not Olympians, let's say that.
Well, definitely not Olympians. But yeah, no, it's a case of most of us is general blokes coming out for a shoot. And that's the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
We're not out here to, we're not in the military, we're not going around training for a mission. And yeah, if you're training for a mission, awesome. Go run 500 metres and take 5 shots. It's not exactly as easy as people think.
No, I mean, I'd struggle with the running 5 metres.
Running in general, I think, is the bad
you and me,
point of it
Johnny,
all.
that's not a chance, mate. Not a chance.
Can I use Polaris in the next comp? Or?
Let's make these boys run them, and you and I can just sit there and wait till they get back, and then we'll shoot.
Yeah, we'll put the fridge in the back too. It'll be all good.
Nice. Butters, what about you, mate? What do you dislike shooting? You've shot a number of comps, not only just your own.
Yeah, the stages I dislike, I don't. Most of them I don't mind. I think the only ones I can think of that I'm not necessarily dislike, but I'm just not a fan of the concept of where this can be, for instance, in Mildura when we had the handgun and maybe the PRI where we had the shotgun. You weren't required when you come off your rifle and went to that second firearm. You weren't required to hit the target. That part I'm not a huge fan of because people can just put a shot into the dirt and not worry about it. Me personally, I would probably prefer to see that target had to be hit. I know why sometimes that can't happen due to some safety precautions that need to be in, but yeah, that's all I could really think of.
You bring up a good point, because I was actually going to say if I was talking about my least favourite types of stages, it's the opposite of that. It's where the additional scenarios, like shooting a handgun or shooting a shotgun or shooting some other type of rifle, qualify for points in a precision rifle match. And I know we differ on this, which is fine. I'm not a big fan where you have arrived for a PRS type or a precision rifle, practical rifle match, and then you're deducted points because you missed with a shotgun. It doesn't...
Not necessarily worth points, but just you had to move on before you had to hit to move on. It may not be worth points, but you had to hit to move on.
But then again, whether it's not worth points, it's still it's still chewing up your time because it's testing your skill. And I think it'll be an interesting development as PRS. And look, I've had this discussion with Special Greg a number of times actually. We think in time that the requirement to hit or points allocated to those shots on handguns or shotguns or something may actually become more and more of a requirement.
I think shotguns are one thing because it's so much easier to hit stuff with a shotgun. You're only shooting 20 metres at the furthest and it's a scatter shot. Handguns can be a little bit different because obviously you can have sighting issues with those. Not everyone has utilised handguns. I've only recently just done a little bit of shooting with handguns myself, so So it is hard. Maybe that can be the would you rather. Would you rather it be points allocated or hit to move, or not points allocated or hit to move on, or yeah, righto. We'll save that one. It's yeah. Yeah. I think we both kind of disagree, but we kind of agree on points.
We understand each other's
points, yes.
Yeah. We've got a no, I can't say the word.
Memorandum of understanding. Is that
Right? No, you said it wrong as well.
I've had one rum and I'm gone.
Good. So we certainly are. Yeah, it's an interesting topic that comes up on what came up for your comp, dumb rule, and came up for your comp about being
dumb rules.
Dumb rules. Came up for your comp about being pointed at, and I think is happy to accept the rules of the comp and move with it. So actually, got guys, particularly guys who are in the US, we'd like to hear from you as to comps you've shot, be them PRS or not. I obviously know the official PRS rules and bits and pieces around it, but guys who've done those sort of comps, and then guys in Australia specifically or other countries where it's developing, really interested to hear your thoughts. I don't know, we've gone to a serious moment, Goldie, sorry. We've gone to a serious moment but asking for your thoughts on if you attended a PRS type match, a precision rifle match, and you were going to get scored points. So we're going to do it in the would you rather, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. So elaborate later on. We'll put that on Facebook and on the website and stuff. It would be good to hear from you. Excellent. So I have some more questions for you. So in the competition world, what are some of your strengths? Goldie, I'm going to start with you. I've got a slightly different question for you, Johnny. I've got a quite slightly different question for you. So, Goldie, what about you with that one? What are some of the things that you do well at? And let me ask you why you do well at them as well.
I really don't have a left-handed, right-handed, from a different platform. Anything you want to put in front of me, I'll shoot it. I'm not overly fussed about. Well, I can't say I'm not fussed. I do want to hit